Obviously, just want to acknowledge the tragedy last night in New Orleans and how tragic that was, and prayers going out to all the victims and the things that happened out there last night on New Year's Eve. Other than that, man, I'll open up for questions. D-Led?
Yeah, Coach. Having looked at the Panthers now, what are some of the keys and how they're playing here late in the season after going back to the young quarterback?
It seems like they've simplified the game plan for them. They're running the ball really well. They've done a nice job of attempting their runs, going through that process, getting some of their runs going. Obviously, when Chuba was up, he was running the ball really well, doing a great job. And then now making the game a little bit simpler for the quarterback, getting the ball out of his hand. He's done a nice job of distributing the football to some of those guys. And then obviously they got Thielen back, and Thielen's a big-time contributor for those guys and his receptions, his ability to move the football. So, Dave's done a great job with those guys and getting them better throughout the season. And they definitely have the same growth mindset that we have in everything that we do.
Defensively, how are they moving forward?
They've seemed like they've simplified a couple of things. Know those guys really well, got a very similar defense in what they've done. They've been out there playing some of the younger players. They've been out there playing really hard, playing fast, playing physical. Obviously getting better as they go and trying to figure out, who's to play, who's going to be with them, and doing some different things that they do out there as well. So, very real similar to what they've done. They don't change much, but what they do, they try to absolutely master.
With Bryce Young there, it's been kind of like an up and down, a couple years for him. Obviously, he's still very young. He was benched earlier this season. Is there anything to be learned about, and obviously there's no one-size-fits-all, developmental strategy for rookie quarterbacks? We talked about it a little bit with you and Hennis this year. Was there anything to be learned about what happened to Bryce Young in Carolina?
Yeah, obviously. It's with everybody. It's not just Bryce Young. It's with every young quarterback that comes to the National Football League, how you want to handle them. What your plan is, trying to stick to that plan, being able to go execute that plan, getting the people around these guys to breathe confidence in these young players. And they found a way to breathe confidence back in Bryce. And you can see it in how he's playing and what he's been able to do. Obviously, you don't want to go through the first season with him, having to take him out, put him in, do all those gymnastics. But they did a nice job bringing him back, which is rare in most occasions. So, obviously, a great coaching job by those guys and what they've been able to do.
And you talked about how, you guys have kind of deviated from your plan with Penix.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a new plan? Is there a plan B? How does that work?
What are you asking about? Penix's plan?
Yeah, this is not what, because Kirk was supposed to be the starter for the whole season.
Yeah, you would.
Potentially, right?
Yeah, Mark, you liked him to, that plan's out the window, right? We wanted him to,
yeah.
We wanted him to go out there and be able to, go through the process and be able to learn behind Kurt, and he did. He had a long stretch, and now his time has come, and he's out there, and he's going out there, he's executing, doing a really good job for us, and the whole idea with him is just to keep getting him better and better every single week, and to have the growth mindset for him as well, right? His job is to go out and win football games, and he gave us a chance in one, and we won another. So, we're going to go out there and try to get our ninth win and finish off the season strong.
You mentioned breathing confidence back into a guy, a quarterback especially, and I wonder, since the first time you were a head coach in this league, or the first time you were coaching in this league, do you think that philosophy has evolved in terms of handling young quarterbacks?
Ooh.
And there is more effort given to breathing confidence into people rather than, saying this guy can do it versus this guy can't. If you can't do it, get out of my way.
100%. Real big picture question you're asking here. It's kind of just changed over the years. It was kind of in the old format, it was a little bit, my way or you're out the door, whereas now you have such a collaborative effort of bringing people into the building. You have such a collaborative effort of going out and researching and doing the things that you do in order to get people into your building, whether it be free agency, whether it be the draft, whether it be whatever the case may be, your acquisitional strategy of getting guys, you want to make those things work together. So you try to give them as much as you can give them. I believe Quinny used to use the phrase all the time of putting as much into a guy as we possibly can until we absolutely get to the point that he can't. And it's just that's the part of the breathing the confidence into people. Finding out what people can do as opposed to what they can't. It's kind of changed a little bit, from where we've been. When I first got in the league, man, it was either you can do it or you can't. And it was a ride or die mentality where now is we definitely try to get the most out of the people when we can get them in different roles and different everything, and we try to find a way. And I'm sure other people like that too.
Right.
But I'm just saying it was a little more cutthroatish back when me and you grew up.
Right.
When did that change, would you say?
Oh, man. I think it's just kind of developed over the philosophy of the last couple, not the last couple of years, but over the couple of years that you've been coaching. I think it's changed a long time ago, and I think it's just changed. It's just more across the board of people doing that now. I think as the money goes up, I think all of those things kind of play into that too. As we get more popular, the sports gets more popular, it plays into it. As these guys come out of school earlier, it gets more popular. As you get a chance to get guys from college and be able to develop it and do what you want to do, all those different things kind of factor into that. But it's just kind of going that way. Just kind of way it goes. Just the evolution of the game.
When you talk about learning as much as you can about a player, these last two in a game setting for Penix allowed you to learn different things about him that maybe you wouldn't have seen out there on the practice field?
The biggest thing for Penix is just the poise that he's shown in these games. Going out there first start, find a way of getting a win, a big-time game on Sunday Night Football with a playoff-like atmosphere, having the poise to go out there and play and finish and do the things that he did in that game. Having a position to be put in a winning moment and absolutely threw the ball, he threw the cow pits, and having a chance to go out there and win a football game with us at the end of the game. And just all of those things that you learn from a guy getting out there and playing in real football during the season is different. And then, like I said, a playoff-like environment, but that is those you can't get those in the practice field. You can simulate those things, you can try to do your best, but you can't get that.
That fourth quarter drive, there at the end of the game, when it felt like the momentum and everything in the world was working against him, how important was it to see that he can kind of pull through in that moment? Yeah,
like I said, you talk about this kid and you talk about the poise, and it wasn't like it was almost waiting to celebrate for him that he was going to get it done, and because you kind of felt so confident in being able to do it, and until probably overconfident with the kid because he's so good and he's so talented, he can do anything. And it's just like felt really good. I felt really good about where we're at and who he is and what we can be because of his ability to go out there the last 2 weeks.
Hey, Coach, considering the scenarios that have to play out to reach the playoffs, how do you prevent yourself from playing the if-then game? If we done this, if I done that?
You definitely play the if game. But it comes to a certain point where the if game has to end. And you got to go out there and you got to establish your business and go out there and find a way to win this football game because that doesn't matter, right? But every week you do the if game. Every week you do what can you do better, win, lose, or draw. And those things have already been done. Those things have already been accomplished. And now it's time to go out and really just focus on what happens in the week, what's in front of us, and what we need to do today.
We were talking about the collaborative effort. Something you talked about even before Michael Penix.
Yes.
How do you balance having almost too many cooks in the kitchen, too many voices, too many things for him to think about when he has so many other things going on?
100%. When you're talking about, particularly with myself and Terry and bringing people in to the organization, that collaborative effort has to be listened to people, and then us get together and make decisions, right? Decision makers. When you're talking about the quarterback, you're talking about having people evaluate him. You're talking about having people coach him. And then you're talking about having people that give him things that he's going to do as far as assignments. And then you narrow it down to who's talking to him, what's happening, who's the steady mentor, who's the guy that he talks to when he comes to the sideline. All those things get narrowed down into peacemaking so you can have a nice, calm, clear environment for him. So you try to manage that as well, you're right. Because if you get too many people talking to the young kid, at the same time, it just becomes clutter. And you want it to be as clean and as concise as possible when he gets the information.
Is there anything that you've seen happen throughout the league? I know we talked about Bryce Young in that situation kind of playing out, but is there anything you've seen around the league or otherwise that has kind of guided how you're treating that?
You get examples every single year, and I'll talk about the best examples that I can think of because it was Matt LaFleur with Jordan Love and how he was able to guide that and figure that thing out and go through the motions, or even Patrick Mahomes, what he did with Alex Smith being there and some of those type of things. So a lot of all those decisions that came into play were definitely guided by some of those people that you got a chance to watch from afar or watch because you knew them very well. I had very close ties to the relationship and watching those guys build those young guys or be able to manage situations how they managed them.
And is that something you thought about even when you drafted him?
That was in the thought process throughout the whole time. It was during the evaluation. It was during the time when you drafted him. It was during the time of where we would be in a few years. If you didn't have a quarterback, where you want to keep going, how you want to build sustained success, and it obviously starts with the quarterback position, and Mike gives us a chance to do that.
Looking on the defensive side of the ball, it seems like Caden has obviously been great all season long, but he's really flourished over these since bye week, and it feels like he's got a sense of gravity to him, where you put him the offensive line, that's where they're looking. How does that allow others to play off of him, knowing that he's going to draw a little bit of attention?
I think it's about understanding who you're working with. I think it's about understanding where you're at. I think it's about understanding what the other team has to do in order to affect Caden when he's playing at the level that he's playing right now. And that allows you to have opportunities on people, and then you get those one-on-one matchups. And then it's up to you to go win some of those one-on-one matchups. No different than AJ, like right now. If you're playing opposite of AJ, you're probably going to get a couple more opportunities than most because of how well AJ's playing. So when you get those opportunities, you're able to take advantage of those. You can come out looking pretty. And, like, it's one of those things that you just got to know. And it's like how football works. It's Caden's done a nice job for us of setting things up. He's done a nice job of us forcing his issues. He's done a nice job of us making his plays that he needs to make for us to win, to go out there and be highly competitive and play better defense every single week. And I can't say enough good things about what Caden Ellis has done, really the whole season, but particularly in the back half.
Yeah, Coach, this is a Thursday question. The Pro Bowl teams come out on Thursday. Are you all anticipating some good news on some players maybe being selected?
There's always guys on your team that you feel like are worthy. Mm-hmm. And then, we got a great selection panel and how we do it. And I love the way the NFL does it, But you sit here every single week. You can put Bijan in anybody's Pro Bowl. You can put, you can go Red and Special Teams Pro Bowl. You can go Chris Lindstrom in any Pro Bowl. You can go, you can name a numerous amount of people on our football team, Bates and different people that have done things throughout the course of the season. Drake's got his first 1,000-yard season, probably won't be there yet just because of the receiver numbers. But, you can name a bunch of people that have played at really high levels on the football team throughout the course of the season that could potentially do some of those different things, I'm just thinking special teams, some of the plays that Zach Harris has made, some of the plays that Red's made, and just all the different things of that nature. Like, you just never know. It's always an honor when those guys have an opportunity to go be a part of anything Pro Bowl related, and that's always pretty cool for the guys.
And then kind of a bigger picture one, kind of the mystery of the season is what happened to Kirk Cousins. You 500 you got the October, and then you got what followed, and that's a big mystery to what happened to Kirk's game.
Yeah, D-Let he just didn't play well. We had the stretch where we didn't play well, and obviously tried to breathe confidence into that situation. Mm-hmm. Obviously tried to make us get it back, and then you couldn't get it back, and you got to make the switch. But what's happening to Kirk Cousins today is he's being the best backup quarterback that he could potentially be. He's able to go out there and really be helpful for us, helpful in all moments. There's no better time to be around a guy like Kirk Cousins that's had so many experiences in the league, whether it's big losses, big wins, whatever the case may be for Michael, than right now.
We asked you a bit on Monday about Bijan. Is there anything that coming into Atlanta and not knowing him that has, I guess, the biggest thing that has surprised you now, when you're in week 18, like, oh wow, I didn't know that he was, this good at this or anything like that?
Not football related, because that was clear on tape. Mm-hmm. In Texas, that was clear on tape, probably in high school, probably if anybody has known him that way. But the human, I did not know. And I can't say enough positive things about the human. He makes me a better person every single day. He makes you want to work harder. He should make everybody on his fan base proud. He should make everybody in his organization proud. He is absolutely a grade A, stand-up, outstanding human, and he makes you feel bad about yourself. He's so good.
Since I asked you Monday about what he said about Allen Iverson, I've come to realize that there are a lot of younger NFL players who have the same sort of relationship with Iverson. And I wonder if he's a guy who you think resonates particularly in your locker room. I know half your guys think they can
AI?
be players. Yeah, but I want to be specific about.
Allen Iverson is iconic, man. Like, he was like, you got basketball players like Jordan that we can talk about being the greatest of all time. You got Kobe, you got LeBron, but you talk about AI, you're talking about the guy that changed, style. He changed, Deion-esque, they're more similar when it comes to that because they moved like cultures and they moved things like that nature with the answer, and how he went about his business. And, whether it was Bubba Chuck, whether it was from Virginia, or was the iconic things he was able to do at Georgetown, or the iconic things that happened to get him out of trouble and find a way to get back into it and become one of the hardest playing people that we know in sports, just in general, and respected by his peers and everybody, to be able to take the Sixers to that championship game, and everybody sees the famous step over Tyronn Lue right now and what he's able to do. And then I was cheering for the Lakers, but you still couldn't help but wanted to go down for Iverson because of who he was and how he just is so deeply embedded in the culture of all of us, athletes.